Audrey. This video is to show you how you find zeros, roots, extrema, that kind of thing on your HP50g graphing calculator. So I'm going to go through some of the examples from your lesson on graphing polynomials, but unfortunately I can't show the lesson at the same time I'm showing my calculator screen. So you need to be able to follow along with the lesson. Probably you'll need to watch a different video and then just pop over to here to see what you do on your particular calculator. So I'm skipping down all the way to part B of the first example about the box, where it says calculator time, graph it. And just remind you how you're going to graph this on your calculator. So you're going to go to your right shift, left shift, y equals. So left shift, y equals. And you're going to delete whatever's there and either click choose or add. If you hit add, it will give you a new equation. If you pick choose, you can edit an old equation. I'm going to pick choose just so I'm going to just edit one that I happen to have going already. So it's nothing related to this. And then I'm going to hit edit F1 in order to change what this equation actually looks like. Delete all this. So I have a new blank place put in for y1, what the equation is that I want. And in this case, my equation was 4x cubed minus 150x squared plus 1350x. So I'm going to type that in, 4x to the power of 3. Go down, go down. You have to hit over twice in order to get this all highlighted again. Then hit subtract 150x to the power of 2. And again, keep hitting the right arrow, right arrow, right arrow, right arrow till everything's highlighted again. And then I'm going to hit plus 1350x. And that's going to get me my equation in y1. Hit enter. Tells me, okay, my y1 equation is now the equation that I want in there from the graphing box question. And now I need to estimate the value of x that would maximize the volume of the box. So I'm going to choose to erase whatever was on there. And I'm going to draw whatever's there. Now, it just so happens that what is on here, my viewing window, shows the equation or shows the function. If yours doesn't happen to, then I'm going to hit the on button a couple times till I get back to this original menu. And then I hit the right shift, left shift, win. And this lets me choose what my viewing window is going to be. So I usually start with my defaults would be -10 and 10 for my horizontal view. These are my X views. And my -10 and 10, these are for my Y views. And then I'm going to hit erase and draw again. This is probably more like what yours looks like, which at first you might go, okay, but there's nothing here. Can't see anything. So in order to be able to figure out where in the world it is, I'm going to hit F3 trace. And I'm also going to hit F2 XY. And this tells me what point on the graph I've got where I am right now. So I'm at the point 0, 0, which tells me my graph actually is there. It's just right on top of my y-axis. I can't see it. So if I hit the right arrow over a little bit, there's a point there going, I've got the point 0.15. Remember, this is scientific notation. And 204. So I'm already up in the 200s just by moving over a little bit. Move over a little bit more. This is already 400 and something, 500 and something. If I keep going over, you see the little cursor at the top of the graph. It shows that I'm actually off the top of the graph. I need to change my viewing window in order to be able to actually see it because it goes up so high, I can't see anything up there. So I might keep arrowing over a little farther until I can figure out maybe what a good maximum value would be. So I'm up in the 2000s around here, 3000s, 325, 300. Keep going over 3,000. Oh, now I'm suddenly going down again. So I'm already at 30,500, somewhere in that ballpark. So when I go back to just my viewing window again, maybe I'm going to go all the way up to 4,000. So it's going to show off the top of here. So I'm going to hit my on button to go back and cancel. And fortunately for me, it actually takes me straight to my viewing window. So I'm going to go down and change my maximum Y value to 4,000 because I know it goes super high. Hit OK. And then again, I need to hit erase before I hit draw so that what I had on there before doesn't show up. And there you have the piece of the function that you can see for this. Now it looks like my function keeps going off to the right. So maybe I might go back to my viewing window and make my horizontal view bigger or my X value bigger just to see what's going on. Maybe go as high as 20 here, hit erase and then draw again. Okay, so it goes back down again. And maybe can keep playing with this a little bit more. If I go lower in the y direction, I might get to see more of my function. So again, keep hitting on whenever you want to go back to just this window, because this was the last window we were on. Y value, we're going pretty low, maybe negative 500, negative 500, hit enter, erase, draw. Maybe even lower. Maybe I might go down to negative 4,000 so that I have an even view on both sides. Hit enter, erase, draw. All right, that's looking more promising. So on the left-hand side, looks like it just keeps going down forever and ever and over. On the right-hand side, looks like it might come back up again if I move my graph over a little bit farther in the horizontal viewing window. So I hit on again, and I might take this, well, let's try 40, see where that gets me. Erase this, draw this. There we go. So that looks like a pretty nice view of my function. So it'll take you a while to figure out your viewing window before you can get a full view of the function on there. And again, to first get to your viewing window, you just hit on till you get back to this original screen. And then it's your right shift, your left shift, F2 says win, will take you to where you can see the viewing window. Change those up, erase, draw, gets you a pretty nice view of things. And you may have to trial and error it until you get it showing up well. So you get a nice, beautiful picture of it. Okay, so what this actually asked us to find, now that we've got this picture, is the maximum value of x, or the value of x that would maximize the volume of the box. So we want to find the maximum value, and I think that's going to be this relative maximum I've got going on, that nice top of the hill. So in order to do that, again, we're going to choose FCN, F4. And on this menu then, we're going to choose F6, which says EXTR. This is the extrema. We want to find all the extrema. So I pick that, and it's telling me I've got an extrema going on maybe around this area. And that's because that's where my cursor was closest to when I hit that extrema button. So in order to find the maximum value, because this is our minimum value, this is actually not going to be very helpful. I'm going to move this little cursor around. I can move it around on the screen, get close to my maximum value. I'm going to hit F1 to kind of go back to this menu that I had. So that was F1 to get back here. Hit again, extrema, and now it's telling me my extrema is 5.885621, whatever. So the maximum value, or the value of x that would maximize the volume of the box, is 5.886 rounded, and the maximum volume of the box would be 3,565.032 centimeters cubed. Okay, so that's how you find the maximum and minimum. If you want to get back to that menu again, that's F1, and then you need to move your cursor around to get close to a maximum or a minimum, and then hit the extrema button. Will tell you what the actual maximum or minimum value is on your calculator. Okay, so that was the first example where you needed to use your calculator to find a maximum or a minimum. And then if you go to the second page, you have a new equation. So in order to put a new equation in, I'm going to go cancel back there, cancel back there. Wow, this got me a huge screen. This is telling me all that information that I just found, all that extrema. This is in my main screen. If I went on. So I'm going to go again, Shift F1 to get me back to this y equals screen. And I'm going to delete what I got on there because I don't want that one anymore. And then I'm going to choose an equation to edit. So I could either choose y1 or I could choose something else. Doesn't really matter. Pick one. I'm going to choose y2 just because I want to put it in somewhere different, and hit edit, hit down, hit over, and I'm going to delete everything that's here. So I have a new spot to put things in. So this time I've got the equation negative 5x to the 4. Go out. Whoops, too much. Then subtract from that 95 x to the 3. Go out, right, till you got the whole thing highlighted again. Minus 525 x squared. Plus 245x plus 3430. That was my second equation that I needed to find. And now using this, hit enter. Now I've got that new equation in there. Erase what was there before. You can hit draw right away if you want to see it on the window that we had already. Or you can exit out of here till you can get back to your view window. Now it looks like we're going way farther than we need to on the right-hand side. I'm going to make my right-hand limit, or sorry, my X value on the right a whole lot smaller. So go back on till I get back to this weird big window, left shift win. And in the right direction, I'm going to change this maybe just back to 10 again. See what I get. Erase and draw. That looks more useful to me to find the maximums and minimums. I might go down a little farther just to see if in the Y direction anything turns around. So actually, I'm already going down pretty far, down to negative 4,000. So this is actually a pretty good view of this function. Now, in order to find, we're looking for zeros or roots of my function. So on this menu that I've got, again, I'm going to pick this F4 FCN. And it says root here. So I'm going to hit F1 for root, and it tells me one of my roots right off the bat is 2.279. I'm going to round that to 2.280. And remember, to find the other root, I'm going to move my cursor over close to it, and then hit F1, and then hit root again. Tells me there's my other root, negative 3.095. So write those down. The end behavior I get just by looking at the graph and going, okay, as x goes to negative infinity, as x gets really small, I basically just end up going off the bottom of my graph. So I'm going down to negative infinity. And as x gets really big, as I go off to the right-hand side, I also go off the bottom of my graph, and f of x goes to negative infinity. If you need to see how to write all this down, you might want to jump ahead in some of the other videos just to see how we write our answer. To find, again, now we're looking for extrema, the absolute maximums or absolute minimums. Looks like I don't have any absolute or relative minimums because I'm going off to negative infinity and I don't have any valleys showing on my graph. But I definitely have an absolute maximum that I want to find. So I hit F1 again. And this time I'm going to bring my cursor close to my maximum and tell it I wanted to find an extrema, which is X6. So there it is. My extrema is 0.2, well, it's going to round to 0.220 if I round it, at a Y value of 3457.467 if I round it. Okay, so there's your absolute maximum. That's the highest that my graph possibly goes. Okay, so again, skip ahead in one of the videos to see how you're going to write those down, but this is how you find those on your calculator. Again, that's using root and extrema and just looking at the graph. Last example that we're going to use our calculator for. Again, we're going to get back out of here by hitting on. Takes me back to the main screen. Then I'm going to hit the white shift y equals. I'm going to choose to edit y3 this time. Hit OK. Edit that. Delete everything here. Whoops, too far. Get that equals back. There we go. Equals. This time we're looking at negative 4x cubed plus 72.6x squared minus 327.2x plus 430.5, and that's going to be now an y3. Now, if I don't want this y2 to draw anymore, then I need to delete it. Otherwise, it's going to show up on my graph as well. Erase everything, hit draw, and there we've got, oh, not bad, a passable piece of this function. So it looks like I don't need to go quite so high or so low with my y values, but I might want to go further out to the right with my x values. So go back on, then shift to get to window. Gonna go further out to the right, so maybe up to 40, who knows. This I'm only gonna go down to, well, let's bring it down into negative 200 and positive 200. See if that gets me a nice view of this. Erase, draw. Okay, so we lost some of the pieces off the top. I'm going to need to go higher than 200, and I don't need to go quite so far out to the right. So higher than 200, let's try 500. And looks like I don't need to go quite so far out. Let's just go to 25 here. Erase that, draw that. Okay, that's a pretty nice picture. I think that'll be able to give me all the information that I need for this one. So zeros, first thing that I'm looking for. It looks like I've got some zeros I'm crossing the x-axis down here somewhere. Now, like cross, it looks like it might actually cross and go back up again. So I'm going to see if I can find actually 2 zeros in this region. So I'm going to come close on this side and hit function root. And it gives me, there's my first root, 2.608. Then I'm going to move my cursor towards the other side, hit F1 to get this menu back, and then root again. Here's a second root, 3.398, write that one down. And then one more way out here, again, hit F1 to get this menu back, hit root, tells me my last one is 12.144, we'll round to. So I want to write all those down under zeros, also called roots. Looking at the end behavior of this function, as x goes to negative infinity, or as x goes really, really small, we're going off the top of the graph. So f of x is going to go to positive infinity. So as x goes towards the left, we are going off the top, we're going f of x going to positive infinity. And as x goes really, really big towards the right, we're going off the bottom of the graph, f of x goes to negative infinity. We need to open up another video and see what that looks like to write it. But we're just looking at the graph, no calculations needed here. And then the last thing, we don't have any absolute extrema because we're going up to infinity and down to negative infinity. So we're going to keep going forever and ever and ever, both up and down. So we don't have any absolutes. But we do have a relative minimum and a relative maximum. So a relative minimum looks like to me this would be around here. So I'm going to go F1 and this time hit F6 to tell me extrema. There's my relative minimum at 2.995, negative 5.701. So the absolute or relative minimum at this spot is negative 5.701, and that happens at the x value of 2.995. Relative maximum, top of the hill, we've got going on up here. So again, hit F1 to get that menu back, and then hit F6. There's my extrema, 9.105 for 50.703. So the maximum, the relative maximum value is 450.703, and that happens at the x value of 9.105. So that should give you enough to figure out, again, how to find your roots, your extrema, how to graph on your HP50g graphing calculator. There is one more example in your notes, so see if you can actually remember how to do that. Try that one on your own by following along with one of the other videos, because it's really just doing another maximum point. All right, so good luck with your calculator, and let me know if you've got any questions.